guys, and welcome to another vlog. I'm driving this. This is the 2021 Maruti Suzuki Swift. As you can see, the design of the Swift remains identical as before, but the changes are skin deep because yes, the engine has been updated. You can see that right there. There's no insulation on top of the engine. That's kind of surprising. There is insulation here, of course. And the only change on the exterior happens to be this new grille, this mesh grille, which is bigger, gets a chrome bar, but because of the number plate placement, it doesn't really give you the big grille feel as such. Obviously Suzuki logo right there. You get fog lamps, you get a sort of an aggressive bumper as well, and you get a projector setup, LED DRL. You can see the indicator, that's a bulb on that side. The Swift remains the same as before when you see it from any other direction. It's still a very smart and sporty looking car. But you know what, it kind of pretends to be a 3-door because there are no door handles at the rear. The door handle happens to be here. Oh, this is so much like the Chevrolet Beat, you must say that. Meanwhile, it gets a dual tone finish as well. So yeah, dual tone colors are being offered on the Swift. There are 3 of them. The wheels look nice. They could have been bigger. 185, 65, 15 is the size of the tire. And this red shade actually looks pretty good on this car. But you know, because of this dual tone treatment, you really can't see the lines as well as you would expect. It's the same at the rear. Looks sweet, nice. And it's an evolution of the older Swift. You see, it gets rear parking sensors. There's a reverse parking camera right there. And the lights are actually beautiful. You can see that. Well, the thing is, it doesn't get Maruti Suzuki written anywhere. Just says Swift, no variant name written as well. It obviously saves them a lot of money. Rear wiper washer, you don't get a rear spoiler. This is where the washer comes from. High mounted stop lamp, electromagnetic tailgate opener. Let's open the boot of the car. The boot is decent size, not really very big as such. There's a light placement here, there's a hook here, and the spare wheel isn't an alloy. It is actually a smaller size tire. Yes, that's right, it's a very small size tire. In fact, the tire size happens to be 165/80/14. Let's close the boot lid. First and foremost, it is very light. You can do it with one finger as well. That is how light it is. Obviously, this is a light car. Let's get into the rear. First and foremost, it doesn't get door pockets. It only gets one bottle holder, which struggles to put a 1-liter bottle inside because you really have to push it inside. The cabin is all black. Okay, you get adjustable headrest only for 2 passengers, not for the center passenger because he doesn't have a head. But there is no center armrest either. Although, you know, it gets the 60/40 split folding seat. Yeah, just to increase luggage carrying capacity. Alright, let's get inside. You see, under thigh support is actually decent. Not really great, but it's decent. It gets slightly scooped out seat back. It gets a magazine holder, but not on the other side because the person who sits on this side does not read anything. Okay, the floor is almost flat. There are no rear AC vents. However, there's storage space here. There's a handle on both the sides, and there's good amount of headroom on offer here. The dashboard design, well, it looks the same as before. Not much has changed. You know what? They've given it new upholstery. Well, that is the change on the inside. Yeah, nothing has changed as such. Now you get a request sensor on the driver's side. You also get a request sensor on the co-driver's side. Meanwhile, the door pockets are bigger at the front. Thankfully, you get a bottle holder and storage space as well. These power window switches are coming from the first generation Swift, so they are around 17-18 years old right now. This is obviously the control for the outside rear view mirror adjustment. There's a dead pedal right there, and of course, this is for the auto stop start system because it has been added now. This is for the headlight leveler. This is the engine start stop button. The seats are actually comfortable. Hi Nurain, what's up? You like the Swift? Yeah, she was saying that she's getting reminded of a Skoda Laura because the cabin is all black. Alright, back to the vlog. So, the seats are comfortable, height adjust function of course. And you know what? Nothing has changed on the inside other than the fact that certainly minute changes are there. Like this is a smart play studio system. It's a 7-inch screen. Let's get into reverse so you can see the reverse parking camera. This is the reverse parking camera. It gets guidelines. The guidelines are not adaptive. It's a decent system. I love the AC controls. They're really very nice. There's storage space with 2-in cup holders. There's storage space here. There's no wireless charger in this car. There's a 12-volt charging socket. There's a USB and aux which connects with this system for Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto connectivity. No auto dimming inside rear view mirror. The dials are actually nice for the instrument cluster. And it gets a new screen in between, which is very similar to the one which you see in the Ciaz and the Ertiga. Now, it is a color dial. In fact, look at the display. I open the door. It shows you exactly which door is open as well. It tells you what is the average fuel economy, range and whatnot. Yeah, 28 kilometers is the distance to empty right now, which is shocking. Automatic headlights. Yeah, the wipers are not automatic, but good amount of spray on offer. So much spray on offer now that you can actually take a bath. Meanwhile, you get a mirror here. You don't get a mirror here. And there's a light placement on the top. The glove box is very, very small. Okay. Very hard plastics inside this car, so quality of materials could have been definitely better. And obviously this is for the phone control, this is for the audio controls, and it also gets cruise control now. So the number of changes on this car are so less now, I can't really count them either. I'm just searching if anything is new. No, everything is the same old. Now the problem is that there's no physical control for the volume. You can obviously use this button for volume. Let's play a radio right away. Audio quality is decent, not really great as such. Now you can see this instrument cluster actually looks very beautiful, very nice, and the dashboard might be a little sporty because it's all black. However, you know what, steering gets a flat bottom treatment which is in line with the sportiness of the car. Anyways, not much has changed. So let's start driving because the engine is new here. Alright, we're all set to go, which means turning off the air conditioning, putting the handbrake down into first gear, no traction control, none of that, hazard light off, revving the motor, it revs till 5000 RPM. Plenty of wheel spin on offer, of course, because there's no traction control here. Tires are actually on the narrower side, and performance has actually improved from before because this is a new engine. It is the DualJet. What exactly is a DualJet? It uses 2 injectors per cylinder, which means there's better control over the fuel injection system, of course, resulting in better power delivery, improvement in performance as well, and an increase in power from 83 horsepower to 90 horsepower. Meanwhile, the torque output is 130 Newton meters, which comes in at a very high 4400 RPM. Still, performance is very likable because this engine now is smoother than before, much more refined, has better drivability, and feels peppy lower down the rev range as well, which means in the city this is fantastic. It is so silent, it is obnoxiously silent. You can't hear anything inside the cabin. It's also faster from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour when compared to before, taking around 11.5 seconds. However, let me break that bubble for you right away. 11.5 seconds to 100 is not really fast because the Neos Turbo as well as the Polo 1 litre are 1.5 seconds faster to the ton thanks to turbo power, which means that torque output is better and lower down the rev range. So Maruti Suzuki really needs to get a turbo engine rather than giving multiple injectors per cylinder, because that's not really helping the cause. Yeah, it is refined an engine, it is smooth, it's very smooth, but doesn't have the character of a turbo engine because it just doesn't feel exciting enough to drive. It's so silent and refined. I mean, it gets vocal in the top end of the rev range, but doesn't feel like raw, unadulterated, which the G13B engine was back in the first generation of the Swift. Okay, I'm flat out on the accelerator. Mid-range punch is decent. In fact, low end is also good, but there's no immediate push in the power delivery. So power delivery is very progressive. Top end is also decent enough. In fact, it redlines slightly under 6,500 RPM, but doesn't make much noise as such. We are in 5th gear. We need another gear. That is, of course, a 6-speed gearbox, which is again something which is missing in the Swift, which is actually a very expensive car now. Okay, no longer cheap, which we'll come to in a bit. Yeah, you can drive it very smoothly, and right now around 100 kilometers per hour. When you get to 100 kilometers per hour, you realize that the motor actually ticks in somewhere around 2,500 RPM. But I'm flat out on the accelerator. It doesn't pull that fast enough. Yeah, that just doesn't pull that fast enough. 100 kilometers per hour, 2,500 RPM. Needs more grunt. 90 horsepower. So if you really want to make a quick overtake, you have to downshift. Here we are into second. And there it reaches the red line. In fact, it revs decently fast and smoothly as well. So yes, that is a good thing. Now in terms of economy, fuel efficiency is actually improved by 2 kilometers per litre. This one returns a claimed fuel economy of 23.2 kilometers per litre. If you ever get that kind of fuel economy, write to me, I will give you a price, because the MID is saying 10.3 kilometers per litre. In the real world, when you drive sober, you should get somewhere between 14 to 17 kilometers per litre, depending on your driving style and depending where you're driving in the city or out on the highway or turning the car off and going down a cliff or either a slope, because 23.2 kilometers per litre is obnoxious claim of fuel efficiency for a petrol car. The diesel was returning somewhere around that. Now, I of course missed the diesel because the diesel was stiffer, the steering feel was better. This one kind of feels loose. Firstly, it is a very lighter car. The steering is extremely light, so it's very easy to twirl, and it weighs up decently well at higher speeds, but you know, there is some amount of roll on offer, and then there's not the best grip either. So the Swift is not fun. The diesel Swift was definitely more fun because of the torque rush, because of a stiffer setup. The petrol, not really. It doesn't feel as exciting as the older generation of the Swift, which is kind of on the disappointing side. I would have really appreciated if, you know, the steering would have offered more feel and feedback at high speeds, and at high speeds also it doesn't really stay glued to the road. Now the low speed ride is a bit on the stiffer side. Yeah, low speed ride is on the stiffer side. High speed, it does decently well, but then it's not a car which really needs to be, like, doesn't like being pushed around the corners that hard and fast because there's roll on offer. Still, it's actually a fun car to drive because it's nimble, it's light, it's easy, it's very nice to drive in the city because of the light steering wheel. In fact, it also gets a stop start system now to improve the fuel economy of the car. So Maruti Suzuki is just focusing on fuel economy so much And ironically, the car doesn't get much safety systems either. Like, it doesn't get side airbags, it doesn't get traction control system either. So I think that thing also needs some change. Braking performance is actually decent. Again, tires could have offered much more grip. Into first gear, revving the motor, listen to this. Plenty of wheel spin on offer. Obviously, if you launch the car aggressively, it will wheel spin, and then you realize that the Swift has kind of lost its soul. I love the diesel so much, you have no freaking idea. Maruti Suzuki needs to get the diesel back, but now why would they do that when they can sell a petrol Swift for the price of a diesel? They are more than happy to do that. You know what is the price of this car? 9.16 lakhs on road Mumbai. This is a top of the line manual variant. The automatic goes to 9.75 lakhs. In fact, the Swift range is between 6.75 lakhs to 9.75 lakhs, and there are 9 variants on offer, out of which 5 are actually for the manual, 4 are for the automatic, which is the AMT, and the AMT is not fun either. The manual is the one to go. Still a peppy and fun car to drive if you like to drive much in the city and occasional highway tours maybe. However, at higher speeds, it kind of moves around too much. Somehow, it kind of moves around too much. Like I told you, low speed ride is on the stiffer side, so it can't really deal with bad bumps at low speeds. And as you speed up, it becomes better both to drive as well as in terms of ride quality. However, you know what? The Swift is starting to show its age. It just doesn't feel exciting enough, and that kind of pulls out the soul of what a Swift is supposed to be. It doesn't feel that exciting to drive. Yeah, it's easy to drive, but you know what? You can just park it so easily, twirl the steering with one hand. That's how light and easy it is. There's that wheel spin on upshift as well. So when I said friendly, I meant to say it's not a driver's delight. It's a friendly car as such, easy to drive, easy to park and all that stuff, but not a driver's delight in any sense, which is kind of disappointing because the engine is actually quite good. But now times have moved on. We are in 2021. We need turbo power, period. Okay, Maruti Suzuki is the only car maker, along with Honda, of course. Both are Japanese, not offering turbo power, which is surprising because Nissan is doing it, Renault is doing it, Volkswagen is doing it, Hyundai is doing it. So many car makers are offering turbo power with small capacity turbo engines, which are unbeatable because obviously you get more torque and obviously a better torque curve as well, which is missing in the Swift now. It needs turbo power, period. The Polo feels so much more exciting to drive, but then, it kind of feels old, the Polo. The Swift is also starting to feel old. The Nios is the latest kid on the block in the hatchback segment, but you know what? It doesn't feel as fun to drive as the Swift, although it has a better engine. So a lot of mix and match. There's not one hatchback which you can recommend blindly, which is the best. So it all depends on what your requirements are. Now, it is underpinned by the hardtech platform, which is a light platform. The car is light, and that's how they actually achieve 23.2 kilometers per liter by keeping the weight in check. But that also has its banes, first and foremost, in terms of safety, in terms of high-speed stability, in having the confidence to push it hard and around the corners. That's there because of the lightness, but pushing it hard in a straight line, you realize that it kind of moves around, if especially there's a very heavy wind coming your way. And when I talk about ease of driving, check this out, okay? Sibling right ahead, and I stalled the car. Very easy to take a U-turn, very easy to park, and then get onto the throttle. It kind of lacks the soul. This engine has become so refined now, surprisingly. It lacks the soul. I remember the G13B used to make an absolute racket of sorts. It used to sound so vocal. It used to blow your ears off. And that was the fun of driving that car. The gearing was also very tall. Just to reach 100 km per hour in second gear itself. This one needs a shift to third to reach 100 km per hour. That also kind of slows it down. But mainly because of the refinementness and all the smoothness, it just lacks the character of what a Swift is all about. So when you come around a corner, that is where you can actually have fun. You see, it's actually wavering through. It doesn't maintain its line like it should, and that is somehow the suspension needs work on for being more sporty in that sense, and that's kind of missing. The Swift has become more of a commodity. A lot of units are being sold because now it's obviously made its image in the Indian market and people want a Swift. However, there are better cars in the segment without a doubt. The Swift needs a thorough update to retain what was once one of the best driver's car in the segment. But you know what? Volkswagen is doing unbeatably good stuff by offering the Polo with a fantastic engine, great dynamics, and that's the reason why the sales of the Polo have gone through the roof. I think 1250% is the increase in sale of the Polo year on year because people like that car just for the fun factor and the safety it inspires. The pricing is awfully close to the Baleno, which is a more practical car. However, if you want a fun, easy to drive car and it's your first hatchback, then the Swift is actually a very good bet because you can't really go wrong with it. And of course, Maruti's massive sales and service network gives you reassurance as well. Easy to upkeep, reliable, and the best part is resale value is absolutely stellar. which means that if you're not really into cars and into driving, the Swift will really keep you happy. It will also get your neighbors nod, which is crucial for those who are really into socializing. So guys, this is my vlog of the Maruti Suzuki Swift. If you liked it, make sure to give it the, let me downshift first, what are we saying? Okay, gearing is not tall enough to handle that amount of speed in that gear. If you like this vlog, make sure to give it the thumbs up, that's the like button, and also subscribe to the channel. I will see you guys in the next video real soon. Bye bye, take care. I don't know why it moves so much.